What is corporate social responsibility? And what is the need for corporate social responsibility? And what about corporate social responsibility, shortly CSR in India? What is its concept? CSR and business organizations, the relationship, corporate giving and corporate contributions, involvement of employees in corporate social responsibility, public relations and responsibility, social responsibility, a relationship, media and the methods adopted for discharging corporate social responsibility. What are the benefits of corporate social responsibility, including that of symbiotic relationship, benefits of corporate social responsibility to the society as such, and what are the general community needs, and what are the benefits that a corporate organization is going to reap through corporate social responsibility. These are the issues we are going to discuss. As we all know, corporate social responsibility is a continuing process. It is an ethical business. Corporate social responsibility is called an ethical business. In business, ethics is not uncommon. But we have history. The philanthropy, corporate giving can be traced not in today's the history, but into the history of kings, into the history of the colony, into the history of the British government, and in the history of the present day India also, corporate social responsibility activities can be traced. With a broad concept, it has been prompted and promoted among businesses, governments, and other stakeholders, that is CSR. The concept of corporate social responsibility is not new, as I told you, to the corporate organizations. Since ages, is being practiced. The companies, when tried to provide various philanthropic activities for the development of society, for the people, the depressed and oppressed people, and also the underprivileged people. The new Companies Act 2013, Companies Act 2013, it makes corporate social responsibility a mandatory one for all the companies with a turnover of 1,000 crore and more, or a net profit of 5 crore and more. They'll have to spend at least 2% of their 3 years average profit every year in CSR. In this context of growing importance of CSR, the role of corporate citizenship. Even a corporate organization is also a citizen, just like an individual citizen of India. A corporate organization is also a citizen of India, but it is called as corporate citizen. And the citizenship is called corporate citizenship. Global competitive marketing environment, social responsibilities of business organizations have assumed of late a greater importance. Over the years, the employees' contribution for corporate social responsibility has also significantly increased. The mass media also playing an important role in dissemination of information about the CSR activities that is going to be a mutual benefit for both the beneficiaries and the benefactor organization, that is corporate. These CSR activities help provide for the overall development of the community, overall development of the society, and the interaction between the companies and the general public will establish an effective bonding, which will go a long way in creating a conducive environment. It is, in other words, it contributes to the development of the nation and the nation's wealth. Public relations has a major role to play in reporting CSR activities. What is the duty of the public relations department? To disseminate information, to give out information, to maintain relations, to establish mutual understanding, and persuade, motivate, gain favorable public opinions towards the organization, and at the same time taking the feedback from the people towards the government or the organization, whatever it is. So therefore, the role of public relations is major in the CSR activities that are taken up by corporate citizens. The need for corporate social responsibility is to enhance public image, the image of the organization in the public by undertaking CSR activities. We'll come to know what are the CSR activities. There are certain permitted CSR activities these days. Earlier, it was not there. It was only corporate giving, corporate charity, corporate philanthropy. Now it is corporate social responsibility. It has been legalized. Act is there. In the Companies Act itself, the amendments came in the year 2013, saying that companies will have to spend at least 2% average of the 3 years profit. The companies which have the total outlay of 1,000 crores or more and 5 crore profit every year. These are the conditions. So it enhances public image. It increases media coverage. Naturally, a corporate social corporate social, a CSR activity has been taken up by any organization, be it government, public sector, private sector, industrial establishment, business organization, even an NGO, or even an individual. If a corporate social, a CSR activity is taken up, where is it taken up? In the society, in the community, in the surroundings. Maybe there are several activities under CSR. If any activity is taken up, necessarily there will be some news generated. So it enhances the public image, it increases media coverage, and it boosts employee relations and whatnot, many other things. It increases, as I told you, it increases media coverage because the media will be invited to any CSR activity. Supposing a corporate organization is participating in Haritaharam in its own premises, then the CMD or the head of the department or the total employees are involved into that Haritaharam program, sapling of plants. Then media is invited. If media doesn't come, you will generate a media note, a press note, and then you will send it across. Then it gets carried out, printed, then media coverage. Not only newspaper, also radio and television, and also you have the possibility of disseminating this kind of information through social media platforms. Therefore, it increases media coverage. It boosts the employee relations because the employer involves the employees in participating into the activities of this CSR. There, the distance between the employer and the employee gets reduced. They will work together, join hands, implement CSR activities, and it boosts employee relations, and it attracts and retains investors. Some investors and the financiers of money or suppliers of materials to an organization, or the customers or consumers of an organization will get a soft corner, will get sympathized with the corporate organization. Just for example, the rupee 5 meal, Annapurna meal scheme taken up by GHMC has attracted the citizens of not only Hyderabad, but people coming from various places to Hyderabad. It is an attraction. It is sympathizing. It is empathizing with the organization that takes up CSR activities. And it becomes a source of revenue. Corporate social responsibility initiatives, if they are taken up by not-for-profit organizations, the people, the big companies, the philanthropists will donate to that CSO, not-for-profit organization, NGO, whatever it is. So it becomes a source of revenue for such organizations. What actually is corporate social responsibility? It's a broad term to describe a company's efforts to improve the society in some way. Corporate social responsibility is no doubt a management concept. This is, in fact, an integral part of business strategy. As I told you, CSR in one word is ethical business. CSR chiefly aims at the all-round socio-economic cultural development of both their workforce and community. Its approach is holistic and integrated. The concept of CSR is said to have emerged in the 1950s. And with the advent of rapid industrial growth since 1960 till 1990, the need for CSR has increased manifold in order to have a cordial and give and take relationship. It is give and take relationship with the workforce, the community as well. The corporate bodies have proposed that instead of striving only for larger returns to its stakeholders, as a responsible enterprise should take into account the interests of the employees, suppliers, dealers, local communities, and the nation as a whole. And let us look at some of the CSR initiatives. For example, Mahindra and Mahindra. Mahindra and Mahindra is a vehicle manufacturer company. Under its CSR activities, Mahindra Pride Schools provided livelihood training to rural youth from socially and economically disadvantaged communities and have trained so far 15,000 youth from cities like Pune, Chennai, Patna, Chandigarh, and several other cities. Tata also takes up corporate social responsibility. Tata Power is an Indian electric utility company based in Mumbai, Maharashtra, and it is part of the Tata Group. The core business of the company is to generate, transmit, and distribute electricity. And this company, under its CSR activities, has taken up many innovative schemes under education. What is their actual business is generation of power, power generation. But through this startup power, they have undertaken certain CSR activities like education, environment protection, community development, health, safety, security, resources, and energy conservation, women empowerment, skill development, and livelihood generation, economic programs. So that the skills, if the skills are developed to the um, uh, underprivileged children, they will employ themselves. So, Act for Mahasir, it is a conservation initiative started in 1975 by the same Tata companies for saving endangered species, maybe animals, maybe trees, maybe plants. Similarly, Larsen and Toubro Limited, L&T company. Similarly, Larsen and Toubro also is also known as L&T. It is an Indian multinational conglomeration with its headquarters in Mumbai. It was founded by Dutch engineers taking refuge in India as well as in Indian finance. They also took up certain CSR activities, and their focus is on HIV, AIDS, and area. And what is CSR in India? Among other countries, India has a rich tradition of CSR because charity and philanthropy were the main drivers that were inbuilt, inherent within Indian culture. The culture, religion, family values, and industrialization had an influential effect on CSR in India. Let us look at the different phases, how the CSR has evolved right from 1850. In the pre-industrialization period, which lasted till 1850, wealthy merchants, as I told you, it started as a philanthropy, as a charity. Wealthy merchants helped the society by providing them food during dry days or during famines, shelter, particularly during cyclones, famines, or epidemics. They also shared their wealth by setting up temples, and through temples, prasadam, Anna Vitarana, some programs like that. However, after the colonial rule, so after the colonial rule, maybe uh, 200 years before independence, the approach towards CSR has changed. The industrial families of the 19th century, such as Tata, Godrej, Bajaj, Modi, Birla, Singhania, these people have generously contributed for the community in the areas of their operation. The second phase started during the independence movement. During independence movement, Mahatma Gandhi has introduced the concept of trusteeship. The government, the local government, the government organizations, the industrialists, the industries, major corporates should act as the trustees of the people, because these organizations these organizations are getting some kind of wealth from the people, and to some extent, it should be given back to the people. And as a trustee, it is your duty to safeguard the interests of the people. This is called trusteeship. And Mahatma Gandhi appealed to all the industrial leaders to help the common man in the society as part of philanthropy. Anyway, they are building temples, and by doing certain activities like including um, including several activities for every occasion, there will be some kind of uh, Anadanam, something like that. So Gandhiji said, I desire to end capitalism almost, if not quite, as much as the most advanced socialist. But other methods may differ. My trusteeship is no makeshift. Certainly, it is no camouflage, no hiding. I am confident that it will survive all other theories. The trusteeship theory, be it socialism or communism or democratic or republic, whatever it is, the trusteeship is he hoped, he believed that it will survive of all other theories. This has helped. His sayings have helped considerably for socio-economic development of the then Indian society. We were very poor at that point of time under the 800 years Islamic rule and 200 years of British rule. So it helped to come out of that situation. And the third phase of CSR is described between the years 1960 and 80. During this period, the public sector units were encouraged over the private sector. So earlier to that, only industries, affluent rich people who has surplus of money, they have established industries. But the government, in order to provide employment, but the government, in order to make the citizens as stakeholders in its activities, the government encouraged the public sector in the 2 decades, that is 1960 to 1980. The public sector units like major what we have seated IOCL, HPCL, BHCL, Hindalco, Balco, all these organizations have come up during that period of 20 years. The public sector units activity is limited to certain extent towards the community development. This led to shift of expectation from the public to the private sector and their active involvement in the socio-economic development. If you look at the fourth phase, that is 1980 onwards, during this phase, the Indian company started an integrated and sustainable CSR strategy. Since 1990, 91, it is a landmark in the Indian economy because India, as other countries, India also adopted LPG, liberalization, privatization, and LPG, globalization. Many corporate units, through their CSR activities, are now competing to maximize their overall impact on the society and to attract the stakeholders, to draw the attention of the society, to draw the attention of the communities around. Now, let us look at the concept of corporate citizenship. As I told you, any corporate organization, any industrial establishment, business house, whatever it is, they are called, they are also called citizens. But what kind of citizens? Not individual citizens like you and me, but they are called corporate citizens. They are called legal personality, illegal individuals. We are individuals, they are also legal individuals. A corporate citizen is a corporation that accepts the importance of being collectively responsible. A corpus means a body of people, a group of people joined hands together, invested some money, did some activity, invited some money, and produced goods and extended services. That is corpus corporate. Now, this corporate citizen is also responsible for its local community and environment as an integral part of their core business. Even corporate organizations in their mission statement, they are also spelling out what is their CSR. Corporate citizenship is a recognition that a business corporation has social, cultural, and environmental responsibility towards community. CSR and business organizations, how they are related. Any business organization will consider corporate social responsibility. Why? This is not about giving freebies, giving money as doling out money just like that, cash giving. Business organizations often say that CSR has helped them in many ways to have cordial relationships with the stakeholders in the area of their operations. Many corporates treat the role of CSR as a part of their business strategy to win the goodwill of the public, to gain the empathy, sympathy of the. So they say that business organizations have good employee relations and sustainable, healthy society to work. Thus, what are the benefits of the uh, corporate social responsibility? They have been listed here. Getting good image for the business organization. Whichever company is into major corporate CSR activities will get a good image for the business for their products. Getting good customer relations and goodwill and also loyalty. And improved workforce commitment and good employee relationship and morale boost up, which are the prime concern for any business organization. And what are the programs to be covered under corporate social responsibility? Any corporate organization cannot dole out money, cannot invest money in the sector in which they are interested in. But there are certain restrictions as per the CSR sustainability activities in Schedule 7 of Companies Act 2013 amendment. So according to this, there are 8 categories. In 8 categories, there are certain activities like eradicating hunger, poverty, and malnutrition. This is in under category 1 on priority, promoting healthcare, including preventing healthcare, sanitation, including contribution to the Swachh Bharat, making available safe drinking water. Similarly, under category 2, there is promoting education, and category 3, promoting gender equality, empowering women, etc. Under category 5, protection of national heritage buildings and art and culture, and promotion of development of traditional arts is also there. Category 6, war widows, helping war widows and their dependents, and under category 7, training to promote rural sports and other sports, and under category 8, contribution to the PMRF, that is PM's National Relief Fund, and helping the minorities and helping women. What is corporate giving and corporate contribution? What motivates corporates to contribute philanthropy? How corporates give and participate in community social responsibility, CSR, corporate social responsibility. In other words, it is community social responsibility because the responsibility is towards the community in which the industry, that particular industry is existing, is operating. And cash donations are also usually distributed either directly or through the company by organizing a corporate giving program or through a company sponsored foundation. The company will raise a foundation, and through that foundation, it will sometimes cash is also distributed because money into the hands of the people will further um, contribute to the growth of the economy. If there is no money, people will not buy. If they don't buy, government will not get tax money in the shape of taxes. This is an economy. These are the contributory factors to the growth of economy. Even savings is called investment. If people save, they save in the banks, and they will not draw that money for some time. And during that time, the organizations, companies will take loan from the banks from out of the money saved by the people. This is why governments encourage small savings. So savings, whichever country has more savings, can afford to put more investment. The industrialists, the borrowers of the money will give back to the banks, and the banks will give back to the savings accounts in the shape of interest. This is economy. The most generous companies of the Fortune 500 have been listed here, like the Gilead Sciences, Walmart, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs Group, something like that. Other major companies that followed in this CSR activities: Chevron, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Google, Citigroup, Microsoft, Merck, Coca-Cola, General Mills, Pfizer, etc. What is the involvement of employees in corporate social responsibility? The other day, I was invited for a lecture on industrial relations at OSCE, Administrative Staff College of India, where HR managers of various organizations from all over the country, they have come. I'm talking about 3 years ago. When I was talking as part of industrial relation, when I was talking about corporate social responsibility, will bring the employees and the employer together, and it is an exercise of public relations. One general manager of HR representing one major coal company saying that how it is possible. What is the connection between PR and the corporate social responsibility? How? So that is called ignorance. If a general manager of HR is not able to understand, he is dealing with HR, not able to understand what is the symbiotic relationship between the organization and the society or the community, and how it improves the relationship nexus between the employer and the employee. It is nothing but ignorance. I just quote the example, I don't want to name it. But the PR, it is the very business of the PR as part of other duties. Corporate social responsibility is also vested. If you look at certain designations of PR department, he must be either AGM, DGM, or he is also the corporate social responsibility is also given to the PR man or corporate communications man. I saw many designations saying that PR and CSR, corporate communication and CSR. Whether PR or CC are one and the same, but CSR is added. Sometimes HR is also added. Sometimes the designation says like this: manager PR and industry connect. What is industry connect? Supposing an education institution, an officer is designated as officer PR and industry connect for a university or education. He will not only do internal PR and action PR, but also the the students that pass out from this education institution will have to go to the industry. There it is necessary for a connection between the institution and the industry. Therefore, the designation is manager PR or officer PR and industry connect. So these are all the things we have to look at it. A PR is not confined to one particular giving information and taking feedback. It has several other roles. As such, CSR, because CSR is practiced with the people in the community and the society, the very people that are stakeholders, that are nearby, close to the organization. They are the opinion leaders, in fact. If we are not practicing, we are not maintaining relationship, cordial relationship with that section of people. What for the public relations practices? What for the CSR practices? So involvement of employees in corporate social responsibility, it is for brand image of an organization because employees play a key role in CSR activities. Employees would act as brand ambassadors for the company. The employees provide a most powerful communications channel, and PROs are dealing with the employees, and the employees are dealing with the public. The employees, what they say about their company and its offerings would definitely have a great impact on company's brand equity than any major advertising campaign because they are the brand ambassadors. They are the assets beyond balance sheet figures. I'll tell you just two examples. One is Allwin and the other one is ECIL. See, the management failed to establish cordial relationship with the employees, and the employees started talking openly bad about Allwin Industries. Allwin was such a big organization, it used to produce many products, like from watches to almiras to fridges to vehicles to, and even two-wheeler also. But it miserably failed. That led to closure. That was such a big organization, provided provided employment to thousands and thousands of people, and it has provided under CSR activity many communities. If you go and look at the areas, there are several colonies by name Alvin Employees Colony, Alvin Colony for employees of all, especially in Kukatpalli area, Miapur area, and beyond.
Yapur, sir. Yapur
So
Kotpalli.
that was such an organization that undertook corporate social responsibility. Thus, the CSR needs to be implemented from an inside-out perspective, allowing employees to participate actively in the ethical organizational culture, and it would enable the employees to act as promotional agents and good corporate ambassadors. According to Forbes is an American business magazine. It says more and more executive management came to realize that employees expected choice and access in their giving and volunteering through the CSR activities. Toyota. Toyota is a motor corporation of Japanese automotive. It is an automotive manufacturer. It offers each employee $250 grant to their favorite charity after they complete 50 hours of public service. So it also gives money to the employees, let them spend towards charity. Hewlett Packard is a printer company. It also does Timberland. Timberland is a furniture company, footwear and furniture manufacturing company. KPMG, is a financial consultant based in Hyderabad. It hosts recognition awards dinner where senior managers personally congratulate employees who excel in volunteering in CSR. These are all kinds of encouragement, public recognition to the employees who participate in CSR activities of the organization, not of their own. And now the crux, public relations and social responsibility. What is our role? As we have been discussing, what is the role of public relations? Public relations is establishing a two-way communication process between the organization and its segmented or targeted publics. There is a close link between social responsibility and public relations function. Corporate image is more important for any business organization. It is true. Public relations is the best weapon in the management armory. We have discussed this to handle the image issues, image problems. Public relations affects everyone in the community in one way or the other. Doing good and getting credit for the effort is the public relations is all about. Public relations chiefly concerns human relations. We are not we are not maintaining relations with non-living things. We are maintaining relations with the living beings, that are human beings. And it is a two-way process. It aims at the building up of a clear, correct, true impression of an organization. PR stands always between corporation and the society, and it is often described as that of a person in the middle. A PR man is a person in the middle, exactly in the middle, and bridges the communication gap. For people in other departments, maybe marketing, material, transport, sales, marketing, these people have no business of bridging the communication gap. But the duty of communication, the responsibility of bridging the communication gap between the corporation and the employees and the corporation and the stakeholders, it is the very duty of a public relations man, be it corporate communications man or public relations man. Public relations in social responsibility as such plays a dual role. On one side, it communicates with the people of the organization. On the other side, the communication from the people, maybe external people or internal people, it will gather and describe and intimate and serves as a antenna of a reading. So therefore, the PR practitioner is said to be a mouthpiece and an antenna. Mouthpiece means on behalf of the organization, he will communicate, he will tell. And antenna means he will receive the signals. He will get the feedback and put them into an organized communication and give it back to the management. The aim of the corporate social responsibility is that doing well for the welfare of the society, and the corporation intends to improve its reputation as a good corporate citizen. P, as I told you, P stands for performance, and R stands for not only reporting, but also seeking recognition. What are the media and the methods adopted in practicing corporate social responsibility, in implementing corporate social responsibility? Nothing new. The same media which we use for practicing public relations on behalf of the organization is the same media and the same methods while implementing CSR also. Media has a pivotal role to highlight the various important works of CSR to the world so that others could inspire and set an example to follow. This is not like an issue of an advertisement of their achievements and progress report at the launch of their new products, but it is a continuous process because every year CSR activities have to be taken up in the permitted activities. The newspapers like the Hindu, Times of India, Deccan Chronicle, and others, other regional languages, language papers, publishing from any city, including Hyderabad and other places, have often been highlighting the CSR initiatives through feature articles, not general news items. As of course, also covered as news items, but as a feature article, because feature articles give more room and scope for more coverage of information. And even editorials are written by various nationalized banks, NGOs, public sector units. However, the public relations wing of the corporate's concept should always be ready to showcase the excellent work taken up under CSR of the organization. And what are the, other than newspapers, other than the broadcasting media like radio and television, what are the media, PR media available for PR practitioners to let the community and society know about the CSR activities of a company? There are websites. The corporate website serves the best medium of communication so that whatever amount of photos, whatever amount of information you wanted to put, create a button, create a page, and keep posting on it. And then internal media. The employees can be intimated that our organization is doing so and so things, and our employees have participated in CSR activities, like whatever is the activity, serving the community, attending the medical camp, attending a school program, uniform distribution, or sapling of plants, or cleaning of the roads, cleaning of the colonies, whatever is the program, because the employees are involved. And if they are printed into some kind of pamphlets or corporate publications, including the internal house journals, then the employees will feel happy to see their faces, their activity in the photos, and get their names covered in the magazines or whatever is the output that brings out on behalf of the organization. The annual report will also find place about the CSR activity because as a compulsion of Companies Act 2013 amendment, the CSR activities will have to be certain permitted CSR activities have to be taken up by the corporation. And it is always possible to put across the entire activity, entire program of CSR through social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, where our employees, organizations, others, outsiders, including the political executives that are both elected and nominated uh, political executives, government officers will also see that. Whatever be the communication channel, whether it is newspaper, radio, or television, or website, or printed publications, or social media, whatever be the communication channel, the written information should be clear without any ambiguity to enable the target groups to understand the information without anybody's assistance. It means the language must be simple and straight, must be understood by everybody. No doubt you are a professional, you have a certain language that is called jargons, but when you communicate with your people, the language must be simple. Take the example of Mahatma Gandhi. Though he studied Bharat, though he is equipped with a lot of vocabulary and grip and proficiency in English language, in all his journals, in all his editorials, he maintained the simplicity so that people, whoever reads it, will be comprehending that, understanding that language. It is the vital that corporate communications is available in a language that the targeted group likes to understand. So it must be in simple language. Why our chief minister talks in Telangana slang in such a style that Telangana people usually converse, talk to each other? It is because the connection will be more if you speak to the people in their same language, in their same slang, in their same tone and tone. Now look at the benefits of corporate social responsibility. One is symbiotic relationship. The community at large and the corporate organizations have a symbiotic relationship. One depends on the other. The community provides to the corporate organization the required land, giving back to the society, because for establishing an organization, for an industry, for a corporate, government may allot, but but that belongs to not just government. That open land, that barren land, or the forest land, the government land belong not only to the government but to the people living in the surrounding villages, surrounding areas. Earlier, it was open to people, open to the cattle, lot of biodiversity, lot of oxygen, lot of breathing place, and that has been taken away from the people living around and given to a particular corporation, which builds a huge fencing compound wall and does something nice, or some pollutants are discharged into the earth, and that becomes a earth pollution, groundwater pollution, air pollution, noise pollution, and then the open land is taken, the grazing land is taken. So these are all the damages caused to the community by giving land to the corporate organizations. But giving back to the society means this organization which has acquired money for establishing an industry or a factory should have some kind of charity or philanthropy in their minds to give back, exactly not in the same measurement. If they give land, they cannot give back the land, but in some other form. Giving, that is called giving back to the society. Community provides to a corporate organization the land, the workforce, the water, transport facilities, electricity, and so on. Similarly, corporate organizations provides to the community like capital investment, ample employment to the people living in that area, employment opportunities, and talent search, new facilities and products, education sometimes, sports and games, common basic communities like roads for the villages, water supply, drinking water, protected water supply, and the sanitation, then health facilities, bus stops, shelters, construction of bus stops, shelters, hospitals, community health centers. These are all the activities of the corporate social responsibility. These are the ways and means of giving back to the society. When something is taken from the society, something should be given in some other shape. So this is symbiotic relation. So what are the community needs? Corporates will have to think of. What are the benefits to the corporates? Again, corporates will have to think of and do the CSR activities. It has many a benefit. Then benefits of corporate social responsibility to the society. So what are the benefits? In what forms? Like organizing cultural programs, sponsoring cultural programs. It becomes an entertainment for the people living in the community. Sponsoring musical nights, sponsoring sports and games. Just they will put up a banner at the pavilion or anywhere around saying that this program is sponsored by so and so organization. By that they are visible to the people through the medium, and by that this particular event is beneficial by way of entertainment to the people living in that community. Planting new saplings, arranging tree guards is also an activity during rainy season, protecting them animals, grazing animals, free eye checkup camps, free cataract operations, eye operations, diabetic, dental, and HIV cancer detecting camps, seminars, symposia, and many social awareness campaigns, whereby local talent can be encouraged, conduct sponsored art exhibitions, sponsor free food packets and gifts in orphanages, hospitals, going to the hospitals, giving free food and some clothing, some specs, some clothes, and anything, or even medicine, general medicine, vitamins, something like that. And sponsoring money for midday meal scheme to the government, and sponsoring Independence Day and Republic Day events at the schools and the offices, supply of woolen blankets to the old age homes, and setting up cool drinking water supply facilities at the bus shelters are on the way. Then institutions and instituting awards and scholarship for the meritorious students, starting educational institutions, hospitals. These are all the CSR activities which Tata, Birla, and many other people have taken up. And you know what are the communities? And we have come to know what are the benefits to the corporates through CSR. What are the benefits? It increases employee loyalty and retention of employees in the same organization so that they don't go. They like this organization is more into CSR activities. Why not? I am here because I am gaining some kind of satisfaction here. Not only doing, not only working and taking salary, and also doing some community service and seeking some recognition as well as satisfaction. It attracts and retains investors also. Corporate social responsibility activities attracts the investors and retain them. Gaining legitimacy and access to the markets. Market means not only a place, it is an environment. Market means not a geographical place, but an environment. But when a corporate enters into the market, the access will become very easy. So-and-so organization, which is into more of CSR activities, if it enters the market, people will readily get attracted and adopt the products or services. Less litigation will be there. Increased quality of foods and products and services, boost favorable public image and reputation, enhance brand value of the organization that takes up CSR activities, less volatile stock value because the shares and stock value is dependent upon the people's liking and dislike. Whether I invest or don't invest, it depends upon my personal like. Not only the performance of the shares, it is also based on the performance of the organization in various other activities, including CSR. Avoiding state regulations, increased customer loyalty, helps to maintain good media relations. CSR is not something for the short term. It is forever. It is a continuous process. It is all about achieving long-term results and business continuity. So this is all about corporate social responsibility. The need and the importance of CSR, it has increased manifold because of changing corporate world since 1850 till 1990, and thereafter it gained importance. Now every organization has a compulsion from 2013 onwards, because of the amendments to the Companies Act, is bound to invest in the approved category of activities under CSR. So this is all about CSR. Let us move on to next lesson, that is public relations in private sector. In order to understand this, we need to study the new industrial policy 1991 and also industrial policies 1948 and 1956. And coming back to the new industrial policy focused industrial policy 1991, what are the aims and objectives? What are the salient features? What is the growth and development of industries in India and the emergence of new industrial climate, that is through the process of Make in India, Invest India, Startup India, growth of private sector after the governments realized that the public sector undertakings have become white elephants and there must be a healthy competition. Therefore, the need is to be, there must be more privatization than the provincialization. Then public and private sector partnerships, PPP, public-private partnership. This is a tie-up where the government will invest some money and the private people also, private investors also, companies also participate and build, operate, and transfer. This is another thing. These are all the efforts made by the government so that there will be healthy competition in production and supply of goods and services. And government relations in private sector, public relations in private sector, how government relations are necessary, and the role of public relations in private sector, again, the same thing as public relations do, that is corporate public relations, employee relations, relations with print media, community relations, financial public relations, the public relations, what are the tools and how they are to be used, the customer relations, the media strategy and tactics. Strategy means vyuham. Tactics means ettugadalu. Ettugadalu vyuham. Ettugadalu tactics may be temporary, short term, but strategy is a long term. So to start with this lesson, let us look at how a country's growth is undoubtedly depends on its economy and industrial development. After our independence, Government of India has given much importance for development of industry and infrastructure development because employment was needed. If more industries are there, more employment can be generated. And employment is generated, they will get wages or salaries, either daily or weekly or fortnightly or monthly. And they can eke out their livelihood. They can look after their families. If there is no employment, people will not, because our country is an agrarian country. Our economy is agrarian. If the industries are both agrarian industries and production machine tool industries or consumer goods production industries, whatever it is, employment can be generated through establishment of uh, organizations in under public sector. That was the concept immediately after our independence. Therefore, the Industrial Policy Resolution 1948 and Industrial Policy Resolution 1956 not only laid the foundation for the growth of industries and major irrigation projects in India, but also led to mixed economy in which both public and private industry sectors flourished. But stress was more on public sector and less on private sector. But much importance was given in this direction by announcing a new industrial policy during the regime of P.V. Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh as finance minister in the year 1991 through bringing out new industrial policy 1991. The new industrial policy 1991 aimed to accelerate Indian industrial growth and laid down several new schemes and plans. This policy, Industrial Policy 1991, envisages economic liberalization, privatization, and globalization. We repeatedly talk about this. It is therefore aimed to make Indian industries more competitive at national and international level. The new Industrial Policy 1991 has laid several encouragements to set up industries in rural areas, particularly in the backward areas, to help provide employment opportunities to the youth. As such, private industries emerged. 1975, nationalization or provincialization of banks paved way for rural lending, agricultural loans, banks going to the rural areas and compulsory this percentage of money to be lent for agricultural and farm-based activities. Certain percentage of banks to be established in rural areas, rural banks to be established. That was a very good initiative. Though criticism is there about the nationalization, now it is being reversed. They are being merged into, and private people, private operators are taking hold of not only banks, taking hold of media houses also, but that is a different aspect. We are talking about only 1975 nationalization of several banks, restricting them, asking them to lend loans to give money for agricultural operation and rural operations, rural activities, whatever it is, farm sector, non-farm sector, and such other things. And this 1991 liberalization paved way for Indians going abroad, Indian companies and foreign countries coming down to India and establishing industries through FDIs, foreign direct investment. The new policy 1991 has also offered several concessions to encourage the small-scale industry units. With the development of industries and the congenial atmosphere for growth, threw up a new requirement for more communication professionals. So what is the opportunity for PROs is that whenever government takes up any major decision, initiative, there is a scope for the government, there is a need for the government to communicate with the people. And when they have the need to communicate with the people, there is need for the organizations for communicators who are not other than the public relations practitioners or corporate communication or communicators, people, people of our profession, including journalists. So corporate public relations emerged as a strategic management function dealing with varied stakeholders within and outside the organization. So if you look at the aims and objectives of the new industrial policy, they are like this: to liberalize the industry from regulatory orders such as licenses and controls. Earlier, the government has a name of license Raj. So for everything, a license. For everything, there must be a permission. That was a cumbersome procedure. One has to apply, run from pillar to post, try to seek, bribe the people, and by the time he gets the license, only a few people get the license to manufacture and do service. Others, though talented, may not be able to get that particular license and miserably fail. So this new industrialization policy 1991 liberalized many other things. Its aims and objects are like this: that is to liberalize regulatory orders, and the other one is to improve support to small sector. Instead of investing in major industries may be more automated, more mechanized. There will be less employment opportunities because India is surplus labor country. So labor-oriented industrialization, skill development is the best suited. India is agrarian, but a lot of food grain is produced, but only food grain is produced to the extent of labors. The agriculture farmers and laborers are benefited. But if the food can be processed, the output, the paddy, the fruit, the pulses and cereals, if the food processing industries can be established. For example, some countries process their output up to 90%, giving shelf life. In India, it is not even 5%. So 90% to 5% advanced. Some countries, smaller countries, have set up food processing industries, whatever the product, agriculture product, it will be processed and for giving shelf life, ready to eat food. But in India, it is only, earlier it was only 2%, now it is 5%. If more food processing industries under small scale sector can be established, more employment can be generated. At the same time, more food is preserved for consumption in the future, in the days ahead. For example, food processing, the pickles, the fruit punches, this kind of industry should come. And this 1991 industrial policy focused its attention on establishment of small scale industries under this SSI, MSME, micro, small, and medium industries, under SSI, small scale industries. More number of food processing industries and such other industries can be established, whereby employment can be generated or created. So the other aim of new industrial policy 1991 is to increase employment opportunities, to encourage foreign companies, to allow free competition among industries, to provide more incentives for industrial development by giving plots, land at government rates, industrial park, industrial estates, SCZ, special economic zones, something like that, to make the public sector more competitive, to increase the production and encourage industries, to encourage research, to make Indian industries more competitive, to give liberty to private sector to work independently because too many licenses have been withdrawn, to make development for modern competitive economy, to increase the exports and liberalize imports. The new industrial policy has made four significant changes. That is, abolition of industrial license, de-reservation of public sector for private sector. Earlier, certain activities has been vested only with the public sector, like coal, iron, military equipment manufacturers, atomic energy. These are all reserved for only public sector. Now that has been de-reserved, giving scope for the private sector, private players to enter into the business, so that there will be refinement, there will be quality in the product and the service. Foreign investment and foreign technology agreements, changes in monopolies and the restrictive trade, MRTP Act. So these are the significant changes. And we have already discussed the abolition of industrial licenses, the reservation of industries for public sector, like oil and natural gas, ONGC. ONGC, a total of 17 industries were reserved for the public sector under 1956 industrial policy. As I told you, 1948, 1956, the stress was more on public sector undertakings. 17 industries were strictly reserved for the public sector. No private player has any role in for that particular 17 sectors. But after 1991, they have been de-reserved, including defense, atomic energy, minerals, all have been liberalized and thrown open for private sector to manufacture. Liberalized policy towards foreign capital, FDIC is one glaring example. Workers' participation is another thing. The new industrial policy has given emphasis for safeguarding the workers' interest. Provisions have been made for workers' participation in management in order to manage sick units and other units which are under losses. So if there are any sick units, the management will have a dialogue with the employees, because if the company is shut down, they will become unemployed. Therefore, the government gave a support. Government gave a green signal that you enter into a kind of contract. Let the infrastructure be given by the employer, and the employees will manage that sick unit or dormant unit, something like that. Creation of productive capacity. In order to increase productive capacity of new industries, all administrative controls have been removed. The government used to hold a big control over any organization. So such controls have also been minimized, so that more free hand is given to the the the, uh, the employer, without the interference, too much interference of the government. So the stage was laissez-faire. Earlier, the kings and the rulers had more control on the governing people, on the land, and every resource of the nation. After that, there came the status like laissez-faire. So non-interference or very much interference into the activities of the people. What the government wanted is, give us revenue, you do whatever business you want. Even that laissez-faire situation has also gone, and the states have assumed the role of welfare state or police state, giving protection to them. Now it is a mixed economy. A scene is entirely different. It has controls, but to the limited extent on the economic activity of the nation or the country. Industrial development in rural and backward areas, promotion of small industries, these are the significant changes. Growth and development of industries in India uh, is again divided into certain phases. The phase one is called high growth phase, that is 1950, 51, 1965 to 66, because government focused on major industries, irrigation projects, just like Nagarjuna Sagar, Bakra Nangal. These are the major projects funded by the then Ali government called Russia. So Russia and other governments, they have funded uh, for establishment of projects in the India as part of international relationships. The beginning of the first 5-year plan could be described as laying a foundation for the industrial development in India. There is considerable growth in the industry from first to the end of third 5-year plan period. During this period, the government has given high priority for industrialization. Considerable investments were made, particularly in the heavy industrial sector, major industrial sector. And as you know, 17 major industries like defense, iron, steel, coal, railways, airlines, telecommunications, and other industries were set up during that period. Now, earlier it was Air India and Indian Airlines. Now, in the airlines field, there are more than a dozen operators, at least we can see within India operating within India. So that was the scenario then, and now the scene is entirely different. Now, industrial deceleration, not acceleration, industrial deceleration and structural retrogression. That was the period between 1966 to 1980. Deceleration and retrogression. The reasons for deceleration and retrogression are being attributed mainly due to the major wars in 1962, Indochina War, 1965, Pak War, 1971, Bangla War, something like that. And the country has faced severe drought conditions in 1965-67 because of the wars, and also 1971-73. The oil rises that erupted in 1973 also responsible for industrial regression during that phase. Added to this, analysts say some of the wrong industrial policies of the government also one of the main reasons for industrial retrogression or regression. Industrial recovery had happened between the period 1981-1991. It could be described as a period of industrial recovery, and it has witnessed considerable industrial growth. This period covers both the sixth and seventh 5-year plan. And the fourth phase is the reform phase, that is from 1991 onwards. That is the emergence of the new industrial policy, also the LPG. Emergence of the new industrial climate, India was a later comer to the economic reforms. Though other countries have adopted LPG much earlier than India, we were late in the process. Though late, though late, uh, it was not too late, but we are in the competition in the global arena. In the industrial activity of the country since independence, the government has assigned a secondary role to private sector. However, the private sector has gained momentum since the sixth five-year plan period, and private sector has also improved its condition by registering high rate of growth by setting up many joint ventures in many countries. Indian economy cannot be commented, cannot be analyzed as such very easily, but it is a rich country with people. One-fifth of the poor people of the world reside in India. That is a different thing. But still then, it is still growing because of its huge population, ever-growing population, still able to sustain. And in many indicators, health indicators, hungry, poverty indicators, it is somewhere after 100 only. Even the poor countries, the small countries, the surrounding countries are in competition with those indicators. But the per capita income, because of the gross domestic product is high, the per capita income is more, but then poverty is still existing. These are the realities of Indian economy. If you look at certain of the things like the new initiatives of government of India, or the one is the Make in India. So earlier goods were made elsewhere, Japan, Switzerland, France, America, Germany, Africa, and India served as a big market. Even now, India is a market of the world. Even if you look at the study reports, it will say that it is a growing market. It is a growing market because the population is exploding. It is a growing market because the consumer perishables and consumer durables, fast-moving consumer goods are being consumed by Indians like anything because of this population. Just for example, any cosmetic industry will have a market, first market, the highest market in India because of the tropical climatic conditions of India. For example, the pageants, the beauty contests, Miss India, Miss World like competitions. They will select mostly people from poor countries like India and then Brazil, Japan, and Southeast Asian countries, because by selecting the girls from these countries, the people of the country, the consumers of that particular products will start buying more of that product. That is a, that is a strategy the manufacturers of beauty products adopt by joining hands by coalitions. So, Make in India is an effort that all products should not be borrowed or should not be imported from other countries, but they should be made within India. The Industries Department, Government of India, has launched this Make in India in the year 2014 to attract foreign investors and encourage Indian businessmen to invest in Indian industries. Another initiative is Invest India. In order to assist and handhold foreign investors, Invest India has been set up as a joint venture company between Department of Industrial Policy Promotion and Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, and also FICCI, Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries, and various state governments. Invest India is responsible for promoting and facilitating investments of foreigners into India. The shareholding is 51% of FICCI, 45% of DIPP, and 4% of the states. An investor facilitation cell has been created at Invest India to assist, guide, support, and hand-holding service and facilitate investors during various stages of their projects. The another initiative is Startup India. Startups are Ankura, small units started by the entrepreneurs, technocrats, Economic Survey 2014-15 estimated that 300 million youth will enter the labor force by 2025. And there is a need to accommodate the growing proportion of economically active public. There is no government employment. There is no employment in public sector and the private sector as not as it was earlier. The India is still young. Majority of the population are youth, unlike other countries. So where these people will go, unless they are given an opportunity by way of subsidies, by way of grants, by way of supports, by way of giving the land as infrastructure, by way of giving loans and advances from the banks for setting up of their own industrial unit or industrial establishment. That is called Startup India. And with the growing economic liberalization of the Indian economy, the industrial activities in the private sector has gained its momentum more and more. Both domestic and foreign private companies are participating actively in setting up of industries in various sectors, in various regions of the country. And the government is also giving them importance for an increasing role and responsibility. In the last 2.5 decades, maybe from 2000 onwards, the private sector has improved its condition, showing sufficient buoyancy and registering higher volume of funds from the capital market, and also by setting up many JVs, that is joint ventures, in many other foreign countries. And it has a significant impact on the Indian economy. A remarkable investment was witnessed in the sectors like infrastructure, agricultural products, and most importantly, the IT, information technology and telecommunications. Of late, investments were recorded in the pharmaceutical, biotechnology, semiconductors, and product research development sectors. Capital investment inflows from worldwide countries, particularly in the sectors like that of energy, telecommunication, and civil aviation, manufacturing, finance, banking, and information technology, have contributed to the increased national economy. Manufacturing sectors were the first ones to be opened up for FDI, foreign direct investments, followed by the infrastructure and service sector. So let us move on under part of this new industrial policy, public relations in private sector. What is public and private sector partnerships? It is PPP model. India, just like any other developed country or developing country, systematically rolled out a public-private sector partnership that is called PPP model for the delivery of high-priority public utilities. For example, GMR airport is under PPP, and it is also BOT, build, own, operate, and transfer, BOT. And our Metro Rail is also under PPP, BOT. L&T is doing that. So with close to 1,300 PPP projects in our country, various stages of implementation are already completed. According to the World Bank, India is one of the leading countries in terms of readiness for PPPs, because we need more money, because we need more projects. We need more projects because we want more employment to be generated. That is the reason. As per 2015 Infrascope report, the Economist Intelligence Unit said, evaluating the environment of PPPs in Asia Pacific 2014, India ranks the first in the world in operational maturity for PPP projects. So various regions contribute to the operational maturity, because our employment, we get employees, we get workforce for less money. The human service, the value for the human service is less in India when compared to other advanced Western countries. For example, for laundering, for washing a shirt, they take $10. And what is the value of $10 into 75 rupees in India? For how much a shirt is being washed in India? What is the cost of labor in India? These are all the contributing factors for such operational maturity for PPP projects. As I told you, Hyderabad Metro Rail, HMR, and GMR, both are under PPP and BOT also. Government relations. The business community of any private sector should have to establish and maintain good public relations with government organizations. They are required to understand the various rules and regulations and standard protocol standards of government that would help to maintain mutual trust and a renewed impact on business operations. Government relations may be defined as the maintenance of mutually beneficial relations between an organization and the local, state, and central government agencies. So, public relations has a definition, and your government relations is also having a definition, that is maintenance of mutually beneficial relations between an organization and the local, state, and central government agencies. The main objective of government relations would be to establish a continuing cooperation between the business and the governance, whatever is the government, state government or local government. Blend of business and government to common advantage and mutual cooperation. These include friendly relationship with people representatives, that is elected representatives or nominated political executives, bureaucrats, and employees. In order to maintain two-way communication with the public in the government, the PR practitioner could make use of the traditional tools like print and electronic media, radio and television, as well as the internet-based social media. It would also ensure feedback and any other response or reaction. In a nutshell, a good PR with government help protect the organization's interests. And some of the important points for PR practitioners in private sector to remember to maintain good relations with government are: the top management in private sector should be kept informed of the proposed legislation. What is the government rule? What are the rules, licenses, or whatever permissions? What is the policy of the government towards the industry, towards the activity? The top management of the company or the factory should be informed by the PR practitioner about the legislation, the proposed legislation, the existing legislation. It is important to maintain a personal relationship with the senior officials by the PROs with the officials in the government. The PR practitioner should keep abreast of the latest legislative developments, particularly that are related to their organizations. To develop a public support for legislative goals, the top officials and other non-officials may be invited to the industrial units concerned for proper interactive sessions and better understanding of the organization. Every organization needs a government relations branch that is being handled by the public relations department. It is for the welfare of the organization. And if you look at the role of public relations practitioner in private sector, it is corporate public relations, nothing but maintaining relations or cooperating communication, maintaining public relations on behalf of the corporate with the targeted people, whatever is the segment. Corporate public relations is about harmonizing all communication with an organization to ensure consistency with corporate mission and objectives. The corporate public relations as well need basic media skills. Corporate communication comprehends all communication activities that an organization undertakes. The corporate public relations helps provide information to both public within the corporation and outside as well. In the private sector, the public relations practitioner has to maintain cordial relationships with the public, both internal and external, besides stakeholders, employees, customers, distributors, community, media, and the government. Corporate public relations is primarily a mechanism for developing and managing a set of relationships with the stakeholders. And if you look at the broad areas of corporate public relations program, in a private sector undertaking, they include employee relations, as we know, community relations, investor or financial relations, customer relations. What you have to do is you have to differentiate between the things. What is employee relation? What is community? Employee relations is internal public. Community relation is somewhat external public. Investor relations is also external public. Those people who invest. Those financial relations is financial institutions like banks and private lenders of money. Customer relations. The customers are the direct consumers of the goods or services. Government relations, because the government is the authority which regulates the services, the production, the function, the very function. the very existence of your company or the private sector, government relations are important. Corporate image must be boosted up. Reputation management must be sought after. And at the same time, media relations, good media relations will help you ward off negativity in the eyes of the people. And media monitoring, not only maintaining media relations, it has to be monitored very closely. Every day, papers have to be, radio to be listened, media to be watched about our organization. If not our organization, about the products or the services of different organizations, because your organization into that field. So, supposing you are in the motor scooter manufacturing industry, your private sector is in two-wheeler manufacturing industry or bicycle manufacturing. Any news pertaining to the cycles or any news pertaining to the scooters should be monitored in the media. That is called media monitoring. Evaluation or feedback mechanism must be inbuilt into your communication system. Otherwise, if you close your eyes and if you close your ears, you can see nothing, you can listen nothing. What you have to do is keep your eyes and keep your ears open and try to get back the feedback information and try to evaluate how far this feedback, how far this comment, how far this news is useful for me to mend my ways and suggest the company to mend its ways. Employees relations, as I told you, you tell anything, employees are always the first segment for any organization. If better relations are maintained with the employees, the organization will survive. Otherwise, it will perish because employees are also called the eyes and ears of the organization. You may be you may be the eyes, you may be the ears of an organization, but you are a technocrat, you are an expert, you are a professional. But employees also do the same thing. Through them, we have to gather. You cannot directly sometimes. If it is outside information, you may perceive it. If it is inside information, also better relations with the employees will lead to that kind of gathering the impression, reaction, response, or feedback. Print media is also important. You make out as many publications as possible for the consumption, for the information of the people, both internal and public, external public, community relations. Any private sector industry has to maintain good relations with the community in its neighborhood first, integrity, Ratsagalavan, and the others next. The community at large and the business organizations have a symbiotic relation because mutual. One is dependent on the other. Then we are not functioning in the isolation. We are not doing anything in the air. Anything is related to the community and the society, community around and the society at large. One depends on the other. The community provides to a business organization the required land, etc., workforce, water, etc. And in turn, we are giving products, good quality products. Not only that, because as part of philanthropic or charity activity, CSR activity, you are giving more than what they require. That perception mechanism must be established by you. Think of the Birla, Tata, and big companies. They may be big, you may be small, but what they are doing, you may not be doing. But to the extent possible, because cut coat, stitch coat according to the cloth. That is the saying. Because as per your uh, capacity, as per your capability, you do take up some activities under charity, under CSR activities. So financial public relations is another activity. A PR practitioner in a private sector must practice. And public relations tools, as I told you, annual report is a tool, quarterly financial reports, open houses, organizing open houses. Organizing open houses is nothing but once in a way, you will keep the organization open for public visiting, viewing, and getting to know about it. It is something like exhibition where you display your products and services at a specified place, time, and duration. Presentation before targeted publics, particularly before financial advisors, investors. Fact sheets means some brochures are telling the fact about the organization, fact books, press releases, newsletters, telecommunication. These are all the public relations tools through printed or audio visual formats. Customer relations. We have discussed this about already. Customer is the master. Customer is always right. Even if customers say something bad, you must take it as customer is good, because by doing introspection, we will come to know why the customer is always right, why the customer is good. Because if there is something, if there is no, if there is no flaw in your functioning, if there is no flaw, there is no flaw in your product or service, people will not get dissatisfied. If there is some grievance, if there is some dissatisfaction on the part of a customer, consumer, or commuter, then only the comments will come. It is the positive, it is the responsibility of the uh, communications department or public relations department uh, working for the organization to feel for such feedback mechanism. Customers are the lifeblood of every business, whether it is retail or business to business customers. So media strategies and tactics will have to be always kept in mind, because public relations wing acts as a catalyst. Catalyst means change agent for the better change, keeping the internal and external publics well informed of the successful functioning of the organization. So media tactics or media tactic is a short-term method. It is a tool of influence and an important communication activity as against a strategy. Strategy generally is a long-term one, and tactics are adopted for a short time doing of things to achieve a major upper corporate objective. Tactics are techniques and actions for achieving public relations objectives. You might be thinking that why certain things are being repeated in every lesson. Yes, it is repeated in every lesson, because I will give you just an example. In 8th class, you must be studying about Ashoka if you are a social student. Generally, in social studies, up to 10th class, there is no specialization. And if you are arts tutor and at inter level, you will again be studying about Ashoka. If you are MA history man, again you will be studying Ashoka. If you are doing research into the Indian history, again you will have to study Ashoka, the period. So as you read, as you go into deeper and deeper, the same subject gets repeated, and it shall not be taken as repetition. It is improvisation. It is giving more and more information on the same issue. I will give you another example. You have culinaries, you have dishes, curries. The same red gram can be used for many kinds of culinary processes, many recipes. Similarly, the subject gets repeated means it is repeated only for your benefit. Supposing a question comes on public relations, or for example, in this paper we are often getting repeated the industrial policy. At every stage, the industrial policy resolution 1948, 1956, 1991. But at every stage, at appropriate stage, there is more. For example, in this lesson, there is more on 1991 industrial policy resolution. In previous lessons also it occurred, but that was the less content. Now it is more. So the reason for giving a particular things, because that is related to this subject on one hand, and the more information is given about that particular product as you go deeper into the subject. To summarize this lesson, the public relations practice in private sector, we have to think of things. Country's growth from 1850 during the alien rule, that is the British rule, and after the independence, and after 1975 and after 1991. The development of industries and the congenial atmosphere for growth also threw up a new requirement which made communication more professional and provided greater scope for public relations practice, not only in the government sector, not only in the public sector, but also in the corporate sector, also in the private sector. With this, we end this lesson here. We completed lesson number 9 and 10. And the next, in the next class, let us deal with lesson numbers 11 and 12. And we'll be left with two periods. That is two periods. I mean, during that period, let us take up the questions and answers. The first, in the first revision, let us revise the lessons, and in the last revision class, we will take up questions and answers and answering the terminology, that is jargonic language. Any questions?
No, sir.
No. Who is this?
No, sir.
Thank
Hello.
you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Anything?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No, sir. It's clear. Thank you.